We are live when you are ready.
Okay, I'm ready. Good morning. I think before we get started, welcome everybody here. I'd just like to go through a quick roll call of the board members that we have. I see that Ms. Garrison is on and that Gordon Moon was on. Who else do we have from the board?
Steve
Rich
Church.
Gordon is here.
Rich and Steve. Is Mike Brown? And Susan was unable to, she's trapped in Hawaii. I feel sorry for her. But we do have a quorum, so we will get started. Welcome everybody to the January Board of Oil and Gas meeting hearing. We have several items on our docket, but as usual, we will start with the, and I will recognize Mr. John Baza, Director of the Division of Oil, Gas and Mining, and ask him to go forward with, oh, you know what? I almost forgot. I do need to read the electronic meeting determination public announcement before we get started, explaining why we're doing this. Hi, Chris Hansen.
Could I interrupt just 1 second? I'm sorry. Mr. Hansen, you're cutting out, at least for me, a bit. Can I get you to get closer to a mic?
Ooh. Well, let's see what we can do.
Or speak up, I guess, maybe.
We're a little bit limited because we're in a different location and our electronic equipment is being used for another meeting.
Okay.
Is this any better?
It is better when you keep your voice up. Thank you.
Paul is here for the rescue.
Of course.
We'll take just a moment for him to rescue us.
Just give it 1 second. Okay, the individual should be good.
Good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I think so. Be sure to keep your voice up at the end.
Okay, now we're not hearing anything. Do a sound check real quick, Mr. Hansen.
It's been one of those days.
Okay, Paul, we just heard you.
Was I on?
Miss Garrison, can you hear us through your phone? You can just shake your head yes or no. No. On the phone, yeah? Okay. But not on the computer. You'll have to unmute yourself on the computer.
I can hear you. Oh. Hang on.
Miss Garrison, I muted you again in the meeting. we're going to need to make sure your phone is muted. Sorry for the difficulties, everyone. We're having quite the day here at the DNR AV office. Paul, can you hear us? Thumbs up. Chairman Hansen, can you hear us? Hello, Chairman Hansen, can you hear us? We can't hear you. Mr. Begley, could you try speaking? No, we're not hearing you. Hold on.
Yeah.
Sure, that's connected. Oh, yeah.
Hello, hello.
We're gonna,
The
I
game
think.
guy, my grandpa, my dad.
Can someone in the meeting confirm they can hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can, Chris, can you hear me? Shake your
I can-
head because I can't hear you. You can hear me?
Yes.
I
You cannot
can't hear a word.
Anybody else hear me?
Okay.
I can hear you, Chris.
I can hear you. This is Rich.
Okay. So we need to fix Levon.
And she can hear.
You probably already realize this, but we're not getting any audio from the conference room.
This is one of those days.
Can you hear us now?
This is a mic check. Can you hear us at all?
We're just gonna have,
We can hear the conference room now.
I'll call you when these guys
Okay.
aren't dealing with
So
it.
they are hearing us
Maybe I'll
now.
just keep you on the line until we figure this out. Hold on.
Levon, can you hear us?
So I don't know what's going on. The conference room audio keeps cutting in and out, and we can hear you for moments at a time. For our tech people, I'm getting information that the YouTube broadcast is still running. We may want to pause that while we're trying to work this out.
Can you hear me, John?
Yes, I can hear you now, Chairman Hansen.
Yes.
Levon, can you?
Mr. Hansen, your audio has gone silent again.
I'm gonna-
Gift bag is.
I got a YouTube pulled up. Okay, it should be on just for right now. It may be
Right?
on
Well, yes.
in another set of pucks. That.
Good morning. I think we have successfully dealt with our technical issues. I just want to, again, go through a quick roll call on the members of the board. I don't have a screen in front of me that's showing your smiling faces, so on memory, I'll try and go through who's supposed to be on. Levon, are you there? Can you hear me? Gordon Moon, are you on?
Yeah, yep, I can hear you. I'm good.
Great. Rich, I can see you. Or I could see
I can hear. Levon appears to not hear you because she's not responding to your query.
you. Okay. Mr. Church, I see you're on.
Yes, I'm here.
I didn't miss anybody, did I? Susan and Mike are still not available. And we're working to get Miss Garrison on. Can anybody else hear Levon? She's speaking, but I don't hear her. No. Okay.
I think she's communicating with the tech people on her phone.
Okay. Probably the most important person in the room, Michelle. Can you hear me?
I hear you very well now. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. As soon as we get the technical issues taken care of with Ms. Garrison, we'll start the meeting over again. And I'll read the public announcement about why we're doing this electronically. And then I'll turn the time over to Director Baza.
Mr. Hansen, the way things have gone today, I think this was a good meeting for Mr. Brown and Ms. Davis to miss.
Yes. I think we'd all like to be where Miss Davis is. Not sure which island she's currently on. Maui? Mike is coming on. Yeah, we'll soon be joined by Mr. Brown.
Chris, can you hear me? Sorry. Damn it.
Hey, I can hear you now.
318-4726.
Levon, can you hear us?
Miss Garrison, we can hear you through the computer.
Somebody probably ought to mute that, because if I were her, I would probably not be saying anything but church.
Mr. Hansen, your audio is cut out again.
No, I purposely cut it out because I was probably saying things that I wouldn't want broadcast to the entire public, folks who are out there listening in.
I think I'm in the twilight zone.
Chairman Hansen,
Yes, sir.
if I could, I would like to give her a phone call. We're going to throw a technical issue screen back up on YouTube. If you could give me about 3 minutes, I'll report back.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Chris, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, can barely hear you on the phone.
I think Paul's working on it. He's paused us for a few minutes to see if he and his group can get it worked out.
Hi, Paul. Yeah.
Mr. Brown, we've had a host of technical issues this morning, and we're still trying to work them out. So hang tight.
Thank you, John.
Hello.
We can hear you. Excellent. Thank you. Chairman Hansen, we are just making some final system checks.
Can you hear me?
Chris, are you able to hear okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Excellent. Let's transition back then. We'll be live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. We'll once more make sure that board members and Michelle can hear us. Levon, are you able to hear us? Thumbs up.
I can.
Great.
I can.
Mr. Church.
Yes, I hear you.
Great. Rich, I see you.
All good.
Great. Gordon
Yep, I'm good.
and Mike.
I can hear and see.
Great. I feel a little bit like Romper Room, kind of going around I see Bobby and I see Billy. You young folks have no idea what I'm talking about. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us again. This is the board hearing for the Division of Oil, Gas, and Mining. And before I turn the time over to Director Baza to go through the briefing session, I need to read this electronic meeting determination public announcement for January 2021. I, Chris Hansen, Chairman of the Board of Oil, Gas, and Mining, have determined the January 2021 public meeting will be held electronically and without an anchor location. This determination is based on the following facts. 1, Utah continues to be affected by the COVID-19 global pandemic. 2, the Utah Department of Health has issued State Public Health Order 2021-3. Number 3, Salt Lake County continues to be designated as a high transmission area. Number 4, the physical space utilized for public meetings within the Utah DNR building is insufficient to maintain effective social distancing, and the board is unable to ensure proper safety protocols are in place to guarantee safe participation to the public. Number 5, the board has been using an electronic platform allowing interested parties to fully participate while also allowing the public to independently view the public meeting and offer public comment. Number 6, under the circumstances, the electronic platform currently available is a safer alternative to face-to-face public participation. Number 7, this determination will expire 30 days from today's date. Number 8, the board, division, and the Department of Natural Resources will evaluate the public health and safety conditions existing before the February 2021 public meeting and inform the public as to how the meeting will proceed as soon as possible. Having completed that, we can all pray that the sometime in the near future, this issue will be behind us. We'll be back meeting face to face. With that, Mr. Baza, please, Director Baza, I will turn the time over to you.
Thank you, Chairman Hansen. And again, this is John Baza, Director for the Division of Oil, Gas, and Mining. I'm working out of my office today, so I'm only a few steps down the hall from where Chairman Hansen is. But welcome to all the board members. We're sorry that it has taken a substantial amount of time this morning to work through the technical issues. I'm not sure if we'll ever experience this again, but hopefully we can get this worked out for future meetings. I'm not going to belabor this anymore with introductions because there's a couple of key items we want to cover this morning on the briefing. First one is a overview of world and local petroleum economics. Mr. John Rogers has been doing a lot of work for us in the division, forecasting our revenue stream through the Conservation Act. And I wanted him to present this. We ran out of time to have him on the agenda in December. So he's up now. So Mr. Rogers, go ahead. And I am hearing a little bit of feedback from your microphone, but hopefully that's good.
You're hearing it from my microphone, John?
It's coming over the audio, and I think it's while I am talking, so I think I'm hearing myself.
Okay, well, I'll begin. Is my screen available to everyone? Are they seeing that?
Yes, John.
Okay, thank you. Well, good morning, Chairman Hansen and members of the board. It has been a very difficult year for the world with COVID pandemic affecting everyone. It was 1 year ago on January 20th that the first U.S. case was diagnosed in Washington State. I thought as I heard about that new virus that with modern medicine and science, it would quickly be brought under control. But within 2 months, it evolved into a worldwide pandemic. How I was wrong. It has affected everything in our lives, including board hearings, obviously. Economically, socially, personally, healthcare, everything we do now is a thought toward COVID. Nothing was spared from its devastation. Had a drastic effect on the economy. The petroleum industry was hit particularly hard. And as Director Baza indicated, he asked me to monitor the petroleum industry both locally and on a worldwide basis to see where we're headed so we could use a better forecast in trending our cash flows that we receive from the tax commission. I'm going to present some data that I have tracked over the last year so we can get a before and current status of the petroleum industry as affected by COVID. This is a spreadsheet I use. I don't expect you to ever be able to read the small numbers on here, but this is the data I've used with Utah and the national and international data. We'll talk about oil production and gas production later as I move on. Black wax is what the industry gets from the basin, natural gas, but the things I want to focus on out of here is the rig count. Back in January, the rig count was 5, and right now we're seeing it in December, it was 3. The rumors I hear now, that's bounced up to 6, so that's good news. Utah spuds were at 5 in January, and we're at 5 in December, so we're about flat there. And APDs have actually increased, but of course APDs only mean that those are applications permitted to drill. We just really need to focus on how many are really drilling. As we look into kind of the dog days of summer, we like May, June, July, and August, we see 0 rig count and the spud for nearly 0. So we have increased and the trend is looking up. On a national level, we see the USA rig count back in January was 791. We reached a low of 250 in August, and now we're back to 351. So we see a trend up there. And then also we'll be looking at West Texas Intermediate, Europe Brent crude prices, as we will also look at Henry Hub as the forecast gas prices. This is a very busy slide, obviously, but I want to show what it means. So I'll start with going back 14 years to 2007. Back in 2007, we see the green represents the amount of oil dollars, and red is the gas dollars that went towards our conservation fee. As we see, 14 years ago, we were dominated by gas production. As we move forward over the next 14 years, we can see how oil has diminished and gas and oil, as gas has diminished and oil now it dominates our conservation fee. It's forecasted for the fiscal year 2021 to be 85% oil and 50% gas. So we see that moving through the horizontal drilling has dominated the petroleum industry in Utah. The next point on this graph is the black line. That's the dollars we receive from the tax commission to fund our division. You can see it's very erratic, up and down. We had a high in 2014 of almost 8 million, and we're projecting a low of about 2 million this year as things stay as they are. So we can see it's a very erratic, but overall we can see the general trend is downward over time with the yellow line. This is critical to us because this is how we fund our division. As we look at oil prices over this last year, back in January, West Texas Intermediate, which is the middle green line here, was at about $58. As the pandemic took hold and oil prices dropped, we can see a low in April of just under 20, about 18. And actually, in mid-April, oil went to negative $39 a barrel. I never thought I'd see that, but that meant that they were paying people to take their oil. So that was the low right there. As we see, we climbed up steadily, and now the West Texas Intermediate is about 53. So we are still climbing, which is a positive thing. Gas prices locally, I compare that to Henry Hub, which is a national posting of gas out of Louisiana, and it's traded on the New York Mercantile Exchange, NYMEX. And so our local amount I get from a contract, I talk with the people at Sitlin, they tell me what they're getting for gas there. So we can see it bounces a little bit lower than Henry Hub. And this is based on local, the supply and demand, production, and weather also plays a major part in this. So that's our local pricing. This is a worldwide look at oil. I'd like to start with the top line. We can see this is world oil production on a daily basis. Right around January, we were at 100 million barrels a day with consumption just under that, which is the purple line. So when consumption is less than production, it tends to force prices down, as we can see here. As we moved along, that 100 million barrels a day stayed fairly consistent, but as the pandemic took hold, we saw consumption drop dramatically. So we see this gap here from production and consumption forced prices. This is West Texas Intermediate, and the prices over on the right down, so it forced it down. So really the key here is production and consumption. As OPEC got together and cut back on their production, we saw this trend here, which brought prices up as we see them stabilize in the $40 range for West Texas Intermediate. And as we look here in December, this is what we call the vaccine effect. As that came about and people began being more optimistic, we saw prices rise. Again here, this bottom graph shows the difference between production and consumption. When it's a high positive, it forces prices down. When it's below zero, we can see it stabilizes prices. This is what we're doing on a local basis. This is monthly oil production in Utah. As we look back in January, we were right around 2.8 million barrels a day. As the pandemic took hold, we've just seen a drastic decrease, and as more operators began to shut in their wells, we can see this dramatic drop. This is where we were worried that this trend here would continue to force us down in this direction, which would have been devastating for the industry. But luckily, it started to bounce back up, and we're now back following this trend here. Prices began to rise. This is gas production. Gas is not dramatically affected, and it continues its steady decline as it has for the last several years. You may ask, what is gas produced and gas transported? Gas produced is what is at the wellhead. Transported is what is actually sold. So wellhead gas may be, some may be flared, some may be used on lease, or some may be transported to gas plants. So there's issues to consider going forward. First of all, new federal regulations under the new administration. President Biden has campaigned on the idea to end new federal oil and gas leases. And I just read, as we were waiting to get online, they announced today, President Biden, to pause on entering new oil and gas leases on public lands and offshore waters to the extent possible, while beginning a rigorous review of all existing fossil fuel leases and permitting practices, according to the fact sheets provided by the White House. Again, he has said overhauling tax breaks worth billions to the oil, coal, and gas industry to help pay for his climate change plans. So you can see that's already taking place. Things are going to be difficult. When you're in a state as Utah, Wyoming, New Mexico, that have such large federal tracts. In Utah, we're on 67% by federal. It's going to have a drastic effect upon us. So we'll see where that sends us. He's also proposed new methane rules, aggressive, and he has campaigned to look at reducing or outlawing hydraulic fracturing. And it's basically with no hydraulic fracturing, there will be no. Yes. Okay. Secondly, we need to look at the virus trends. As the virus goes, so goes consumption. This is something we need to watch. Hopefully the vaccine will take hold. We can get it, and we can see the reduction in the spread of the virus will keep consumption up and keep our economy moving. Finally, new oil and gas markets. Over the years, we've heard about the possibility of Jordan Cove in Coos Bay, Oregon, of a liquid natural gas facility there that would take liquefied natural gas to the Asian markets. This goes to the existing red line is existing pipeline. They need to include this additional pipeline to reach Jordan Cove, but they've received several oppositions from federal and local pushback in Oregon. So this right now is up in the air. Also, there is a pipeline down here that goes down, and they want to go to the Ensenada, Mexico for another liquid natural gas port. This is receiving more positive trends. This would open up our gas markets in Utah to the Asian markets, and we could see gas prices potentially rise. Also, you've heard of the Uinta Basin Railway project. They have determined that it's down to 3 routes they're looking at currently right now, from the Miton area down to Carbon County, to put a rail in to carry oil. So it opens up the markets to either the West Coast or to further east. And so we won't take that large hit that we take right now on black wax from West Texas Intermediate. So as we look forward, there's a lot to consider, but nobody knows. Last week, I read these 2 headlines. Oil prices rise as investors look to higher demand in the second half of the year. Same day, I read IEA cuts 2021 oil demand outlook as COVID lockdowns weigh fuel sales. So we don't know where things are going. We just want to keep on top of things and monitor this, and hopefully we can see a rebound in the industry. Right now, I'll be happy to take any questions or comments from the group.
Board members, do you have any questions or comments for Roger? Seeing none.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Rogers.
Okay, I'll turn the time back over to John. Thank you.
Thanks, John Rogers. I think what we really wanted to show the board, and John's done a good job of that, is as hard as we try to predict and project what conditions will be in the petroleum industry, we're probably wrong more often than we're right. We never expected to see the demand bottom out the way it did this past year with the pandemic. We never expected to see prices go negative for the first time in history. And frankly, we'd be guessing to know what will happen in the coming 12 months. But with all of that uncertainty, we're trying to do our best to plan and direct the efforts of the division to the needs of the public. So hopefully we can stay on that game. I'll go ahead and move to item 2 on the agenda for our briefing. And this is going to be a quick legislative update from Natasha Baloff. The legislature began their activities about a little over a week ago. We're now in the 2nd week. We've got another 5 or 6 weeks to go. And as often as possible, Natasha will keep the board updated on what is happening at the legislature. So Natasha, are you on the line, and can you take over now?
I am. Can everyone hear me? Good. Okay. You never know after technical difficulties we've had this morning. Anyway, good morning, board members. I will keep this short. We're tracking a handful of bills. One surprising thing that I've noticed from this session is that it seems like a good amount of the bills are already out. And this Friday is the last day that you can just open a bill without presenting it on the floor. So we'll see how many more come out, but I'm not expecting too many. To start off, House Bill 79 is Representative Brooks' bill. It's a mineral and rock amendment, and this is clarifying the definition of basalt and mineral deposit. If you remember last year, we introduced a basalt definition, and this one is just clarifying it. Another one is HB 188. This one's actually pretty interesting. It's designating the honeycomb calcite as the state stone, and it can only be found in a mine in Duchesne. Both of our financial bills are already out. We have House Bill 8, and that deals with the COLA for state employees. and Senate Bill 5, and that's our base budget bill. Senate Bill 15 proposes that there's a percentage of state employees who will work from home on bad air quality days. So they're saying something like 40%, 60%, and it just depends on the color of the day. We do have 2 open and public meeting bills. The first one is SB 72, and it says that you cannot have a vote in a closed meeting except to end the closed meeting. And then the other one is SB 125, and that gives the chair the option to convene an electronic meeting without an anchor point. And this is directly from COVID. So if a state building is closed because numbers are too high, we can still have meetings and don't have to have that anchor location. Those are the big ones that I think the board would be interested in. I'll be sending out the legislative tracking sheet tomorrow that I do, and I will be sending updates every Thursday afternoon-ish, just showing where the bills are, stuff like that. But if you have any questions, I can take them now. If not, I can turn the time back over to John.
Any questions, board members? Seeing none.
Okay.
Thanks, Natasha.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Natasha. Appreciate that. And please know that you can email Natasha anytime if you have specific questions that come up during the session. I know some of you like to monitor activity up on the Hill, even beyond these updates we provide. So please reach out to either her or me, and we'll get you an answer as quick as we can on any of that. There are a couple of other items which I'll bring up real briefly. One is that we've started the process to solicit nominations for our Environmental Excellence Awards. That will run for probably another month or so, and to receive those nominations, if we stay on schedule, the board will be able to review those, see who would like to present at an upcoming briefing, and then make those awards at the May board meeting. So that's our schedule. Holly Brown is coordinating all of that as she usually does. So please let us know if you have any thoughts or ideas, or even if the board is entertaining some change in concept for the Environmental Excellence Awards, let us know. But we administer that on your behalf, so we will let you decide how you want to run that program into the future. Any questions on that?
Board members, any questions for Mr. Director Baza on the Environmental Excellence Award? I do not have any, and I see none. So.
All right. The only other item I wanted to bring up then is some of you may have received an email from the director here of DHRM for DNR that asks board members to take a ethics training class that's offered by the state. The word that we got was that board members are considered representatives of the state and were being asked to take that ethics training. However, because none of you have state ID logins, you won't be able to receive a confirmation of your training. So for board members, it's more of an honor system. You'll take the training, and then if you'll reply back to either Julianne or I that you took that training, we will report back to DHRM that yes, our board members have taken that training. So we would still ask you to do that, even though you won't get a confirmation that you've taken it. Just let us know that you have, and we'll count you as good.
I'm glad you brought that up, Director Baza, because I did have requests from the state to take those training courses, and it was rather frustrating because it told me I would get a certificate of completion, and I did not. And I think I took it 3 or 4 times, and I got it down, I think, by the 4th time. But
Pass with
Julianne,
flying colors, right?
yeah. But I will take it again. Board members, do you have any questions or issues with this? Mike Brown.
John, is this the same training that we took a while back? And if yes, do we need to do it again? Has it been updated or?
You know, I don't know how often the requirement is. As state employees, we have a set schedule of how often we have to take it. But if you've taken it in the last year, I'm going to say you're good.
I don't think I took it in the last year. It's probably been 2 years. So I just wanted to make sure. Be happy to redo. It's not that big a deal. It's a good reminder.
Any board members having difficulty accessing the link that was emailed to us?
No, Chairman, I've taken it probably 4 times also trying to get a certificate out of it.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
This is Rich. I'd ask that link get resent to me, please.
I can certainly do that, Rich.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that might be helpful if we resend it to the board members again. That way we're clear exactly which test or which training test.
For today, I will count Mr. Hansen and Mr. Church as having taken the training.
Well, thank you.
I don't have anything else that would belabor briefing. I would point you in the direction of the division's calendar. In January, we had a really nice Uinta Basin Oil and Gas Collaborative meeting. I think we had close to 100 attendees at one point, but it was a session where we talked about evaporative disposal pits and the effect on air quality, and then what we could do with produced water besides just put it in underground wells and pits. So we'll be doing that again in April. We'll be staying on a virtual meeting platform on that, and so you'll get notice of that, and we encourage you all to participate as appropriate. Mr. Hansen, that is all I have for the briefing this morning. I know that I've heard rumor that there's going to be another announcement come out from the White House on another order regarding freezing administrative actions related to fossil energy, and I believe that is happening even as we speak. So I'll turn the time back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Baza. We'll watch for what other restrictions that are going to be placed on our western states' resources. We were a little bit delayed. We're typically, we may have started around 10 o'clock. We're 10:14 with our hearing matters. However, I would like to take just a short break, maybe reconvene at 10:25, if that's okay with everybody, just to take a quick break and regroup at 10:25. So, Michelle, we'll go. I guess we were never officially on the record, but we'll go off now.